lost again. Truth is breaking through the haze, calling out across the ages. Collegium of reason lights the way. I was walking through the madness, gaslit nights and twisted lines. They said confusion was clarity, but it dulled my sharpened mind. Then I heard a thundered whisper, like a bell across the storm. Step inside and stand with us. The Collegium of Reason is your home. Every heartbeat getting louder, every footstep feels like flight, breaking chains of shallow thinking, running headlong toward the light. Cast off the lies tonight, let the fog fall, let the truth ignite. Collegium of Reason, where the clear winds rise, where common sense returns and the darkness dies. Stand with the family strong, where we lift each other when the world feels wrong. Collegium of Reason, shining ever bright, a brotherhood unbroken in the fight. I met warriors of wisdom, not with swords but steady minds. They rebuild the broken wanderers and pull them from the binds. They stand shoulder to shoulder, roots deep and spirits high. The Collegium of Reason is the fortress where our truths refuse to die. Feel the pulse of rising freedom, like a drum beneath your skin. Every voice that joins the chorus makes the dawn come crashing in. Cast off the lies tonight, let the fog fall, let the truth ignite. Collegium of Reason, where the clear winds rise, where common sense returns and the darkness dies. Stand with the family strong, where we lift each other when the world feels wrong. Collegium of Reason, shining ever bright, a brotherhood unbroken in the fight. No more shadows masquerading, no more tricks behind the glass. We breathe the bright unclouded air and let the poison memories pass. Raise your head and step in boldly, feel the armor of conviction. The Collegium of Reason stands against the storms of contradiction. Cast off the lies tonight, let the gaslight crumble in the light. Collegium of Reason, where the truth stands tall, where the weak find strength and the weary stand up straight again for all. Together we rise as one, hold the line till the morning sun. Collegium of Reason, forever we ascend, a family forged in clarity without end. Side by side through every season, hearts aligned and minds awakened. Collegium of Reason, here I stand, unbroken and unshaken.
All right. Won't subject you to my hair there. Welcome in, guys. A little bit not so great of a start for me, as much as I should have been, but welcome in, welcome in. Still getting hang of all of these new tools that I've got, and I hope that my new filters are better on my mic, so that as I turn my head, I don't disappear on you. Because as I was going back through my old material, I noticed that I was kind of disappearing when I would turn my head. All right. Let me see what we've got in the chat so far. Welcome into a Potatoes Eye Live, right? This is my weekend rant stream, as some people have called it, with your host, The Potato. It's good to have everybody in the chat. From what I am seeing so far, I don't know who was first. Not sure why that's not showing me. Okay, so welcome in, Homestead. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate you being here. Dave, appreciate you being here. And then we've got Rubber Ducky. Appreciate you being here. And Apprentice, thank you very much for joining me. Collegium Aresian, a good pick for the intro of this topic. I appreciate that. Let's see. Tyler, thank you very much for joining my stream for a little bit here. I know that you're going to be going live after I am, so I wanted to give that shout out when I start, and then I'll give out that shout out when I leave, to let him everybody know that he'll be live after I am. He's been gracious enough to wait for me to get done with my live. I know that his people are waiting for him to get live. Stacy, very much appreciate you being here again. And I think that might be everybody that has come in to the chat so far. I know that Vic is live, so with any luck, maybe I will get some raid, but I won't hold my breath on that one. And to start out my stream, as always, like I like to do, I like to start with a little bit of motivation. Let me find that. Of course, it's not going to be as easy as I want it to be. And let's see. We'll just jump into the normal person that's known, right? Bruce Lee, because I was a little bit not prepared for this stream. I've been trying to get everything else clipped and things like that. And it looks like we have a newer comer to the stream. Jess, very much appreciate you being in the chat. The engagement is very much appreciated. I cheated, to be fair. What are you cheating on? I'm missing stuff in the chat. I appreciate the engagement, but it's going too fast for me to pay attention to it, apparently. All right, so let me see if I can find a good one for the topic of the day. This one's good. To know oneself is to study oneself in action with another person. So to know oneself is to study oneself in action with another person. Bruce Lee, again, beautiful quotes from this man. So I use them probably maybe more than I should. I don't know. Long story short, when we go into debates, when we go into actual logical, like dialectical debates, we get to know ourselves better on a deeper level. Just like if we were to go into a martial arts combat, right? This is verbal combat. For a lot of us that are going to debate, that's what it is essentially for, is we can't go into fights anymore. You can't go up to somebody and say, I challenge you to a duel, or smack them across the face and go do the pistol dueling anymore. That's not how we can be anymore. Hey, King with me. Appreciate you being here. Really appreciate you, the engagement. Let's see. So, all right. So let me start out with a little bit of funny. I've been kind of gearing up my Discord to have, I like to have things, obviously this is my channel and I like to spread myself around as much as I can, mash that potato up and smear it. So I've asked my Discord to submit some original videos, right? We have all this AI generated stuff nowadays. You hear the music on the front of my streams. And again, if you like AI music, I have plenty of it on my Discord. And if you like getting involved with the community, join the Discord, please. But if you like AI music, there are two good channels that I would recommend. They are in the description below, but King Crambler, King Crambler AI Jambles for the Everyday Man and AI Psalms for the Everyday Man. I know I'm messing it up there. But I'm sure that they can drop it in the chat, the links for all of that. I know, Dave, I know. Smeared potatoes does sound gross. All right, so I'll go ahead and start with an original video that I had created back when I first started this, way back when, and I don't think everybody's seen it. So I think it's funny myself, and so I'll play it again. And of course, it starts way too soon. Okay. Oh, come on. Okay. Now I'm done boomering it up for a little bit. I'll get into it here. So this was something a follower of mine recommended or asked or whatever you want to call it, and I put it together. So this is my creation, but it was brought to my awareness, whatever you want to call it, from one of my followers. So here we go.
I know there comes a time in every tater's life when they meet someone who makes you feel warm inside. They'll butter you up. They might put you through the masher, just a little, and you've got to let them, because that's what we're here for, son.
Oh, I love the play on words. It cracked me up, so I had to do it. Another one was made by our own Mr. B. This one's pretty funny too.
Take one look and think I'm just a tired bloke.
So these are made by Sora, with Sora. Obviously AI, not real. I'm not really pulling my face off, guys. Trust me.
Can think I'm just a tired bloke with a beard. That's the idea. Truth is, the face is latex. Underneath, Spud Vincenzo, ghost of the trade, root of all trouble. Suit on, chain set.
Agent McPeely at your service. You'll never know. You'll never know. And then lastly,
Under the streets where secrets rot in the dark, one agent sees it all. They call him Agent Spud. Idaho born, baked tough. When dirt is the currency, he's the richest man alive. And he's cleaning.
I don't know about the Idaho born, but you know, it's pretty.
Make it 20. I smell trouble.
You know, Idaho potatoes, so it makes sense.
Make it 20. I smell trouble.
And we're in.
3 turnips at the table. Take care, leather, bad attitude. Smoke and slip by. On my mark. Vault's ahead. Device is talking to it now. I'll cover. Just hurry.
Good old Mr. B, my sidekick there. And then some memes that have been created by, like, one of my followers created this. I said one day that, you know, there's two wolves in me, a simp and a misogynist, I guess. I don't know. And they made this, and so I found it funny, so I wanted to share that. And then this one, I know that it wasn't made by any of my followers, I'm pretty sure. But I found this freaking hilarious. Yes, this was my doing. I'm sorry, guys. You know, I don't know what I was thinking. I just figured that, you know, take care of some libs, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, going back to the chat here, Mr. B with the like water, you must flow, taking the shape of the container you are in. Be hard when you must be hard. Strike like a wave. Be soft when necessary, absorbing and redirecting the current. Be as water, my friends. I've used that one a few times, but that one is always a classic for sure. Get that off my screen. We'll get that off my screen, and we'll bring up today's topic. So this gentleman here, this is known as the Council of Trent. Okay. I do believe that this video is down in the description below, but he has done a couple of pieces on Andrew Wilson, and it's funny because, well, funny and impressive. He sends the scripts, from what I understand, to the people that he's doing the pieces on, so that it's not like a hit piece. And so he has some reciprocity, whatever you want to call it, between the two before going into these pieces. So that's pretty impressive. Pumpkinhead, YouTube had you unsub from me. That's classic YouTube, I guess. Let's see. What am I looking at? All right. Okay. And Spudvincenzo. Yeah, I can't even say it. See, that's why I don't say it. That's why I don't try to call myself things, guys. Didn't do his stash enough justice. All right. Anyway, so back to the current topic at hand. So I'm going to be discussing a few different topics today, as you might have noticed from the title, from the description. I want to discuss a little bit of each of these things, so we'll see if I can get them all through. And I always like to do my first starting out of funny stuff. And in fact, I think there was some other stuff, but maybe I'll just save it for later. So we'll go ahead and just start into this. This is actually kind of a funny start, so we'll go ahead and start. Hey, Trey. Appreciate you joining me, buddy. Caught your stream earlier. If you guys don't know that Trey has his own channel, he streams gaming. So if you like watching people game and want to support, definitely check him out. That was it was pretty fun to watch while I was kind of getting ready for my stream and watching Vic as well. All right, so let me go ahead and start this out. We'll get into it.
And my first contention is that today's popular debate formats are stupid and unproductive.
And that's just it. That's my contention as well. And that's why I've started my open panels. Thursday nights, we have Tater Talks. Thursdays, at about, would that be 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we just go over general discussions, right? I don't like heated debate. I will do heated debate when it comes time to it, but I want to understand how people are thinking and why they're thinking the way that they're thinking. So I'm trying to hold more a dialectical discussion, right? Where you lay out as cleanly and as fluently as you can your position, and so that person can then take that and refute it, dispute it, whatever you want to call it, and turn it around so that you can understand where they're coming from, so that both of you can understand each other's takes, right? So this, guys, will kind of explain why he has a contention with it, and we'll go into it.
Hey. Hello, howdy. Okay, so you say popular debate formats are stupid, but you're arguing that in a popular debate format. So you've just contradicted yourself. I am very intelligent.
I am very intelligent. And see, this is the problem, is as soon as they come in and they just point out something that they think can be called a fallacy, and it just devolves into sophistry, right? If you don't understand what sophistry is, hopefully this guy will explain it well enough. And if not, hopefully my potato starch tardedness will help break it down.
I actually haven't contradicted myself, because you can critique a system that you belong to. For example, oh, I'm sorry, you already lost the debate because you took too long to answer, so now I can clip this and put it on TikTok and make it look like I totally own you. Wait, what? But you're arguing that in a popular debate format, so you've just contradicted yourself. I am very intelligent.
And that's exactly what happens with these clips these days, guys. This is one of my biggest contentions about the clips online in general, is the fact that a lot of them will take out the context. And and in fact, I was just discussing this with one of my followers that were telling me to get more videos out. And I have a bunch more videos that I've clipped up, and I've started to get to arrange to be scheduled to be uploaded. And I might be uploading more often now that I have more content that I can use. But I have to make sure that I can keep to a schedule, right? But again, I have to make sure, I want to make sure that I'm not taking someone out of context and making them look like they're not what they're trying to be, right? So okay, so getting back to the chat, it looks like I've missed a few. Mr. B, it's how you know that it's AI. It's not AI. My stash is too good for AI to recreate. Fair enough. Trey, I need some kind of warning so I can be there next time. I can promise I will be there during church, but if it's not, I can't promise. I'm sorry. I can't promise I'll be there during church. But yeah, we'll try to keep like Trey, when you go live or something, you're welcome to drop it in the video promo so that you can let people know that you're going live that don't have the notifications on like I do apparently. Anyway, going back to the chat, yeah, Trey, that similar to how debates happened before. That's just it. That's why I'm trying for the new, more dialectical idea, the more logical. Sit down and discuss our sides so that I can understand where you're coming from. Because I, as a potato, I don't know. I'm confused. I seriously am. I really am. And so when I started my channel, I thought, I'm just a couch potato, so I'll just call myself a potato. And then it kind of devolved into me being a potato because I am kind of a potato, guys. I'm not going to lie. And that's why I call myself like all the time. I might be a potato. Anyway, we'll get back to this. Make sure that there's nobody else that wants a shout out. Yeah, Never Lucky Rubber Ducky. I'm sure he would love to watch you play as well. He's I don't know if he streams himself or if he just plays games and streams in the voice channels, but definitely help each other out. Like I said, if you want to drop that in my Discord, feel free to do that in the video promo. All right, so back to this.
As a Christian, I want to share my faith with as many people as possible, and Christians have often used debates to do that. But in today's episode, we'll see how...
Hey, Elmo, before I forget, good to see you. Hello, everybody. I'm going to be quiet, trying to cook. Just wanted to say hi. Really appreciate you dropping in and dropping that comment. It really helps the algorithm. Speaking of algorithm, if you haven't liked the stream, please like the stream. Share the stream out to any of your social media. It doesn't matter if they view it or not. Just the fact that you click that view helps the algorithm. It shows that you care about me, right? And I care about you. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel as well. I do have the open panels where anyone is welcome to join and say their piece. So we'll go ahead and get back to this so we can maybe just cover something today.
How debates have become dumb ways of sharing the truth, and how we can restore debates to their former glory. Public disputations, aka debates, were a big part of medieval Christian culture, which carried into the Reformation, as can be seen in the Leipzig disputation between Martin Luther and Johann Eck. Then, with the rise of democratic republics centuries later, debates became a way to persuade voters. In 1858, people would gather to listen to Abraham Lincoln and Stephen Douglas debate for 3 hours, where each speaker had long, uninterrupted periods to lay out his case for how America should be governed. But now we live in a very different time, as can be seen in the mockery of what we now call presidential debates.
Donald, I understand rules are very hard for you. They're very confusing.
I have his book.
Okay,
on your reality TV show, not in
Thank you for the book. Donald,
thank you for the book. Go ahead.
Donald, you can get back on your meds now.
There's a lot of fun up here tonight, I have to tell you.
Even the CNN closed captioning guy gave up and just called this unintelligible yelling. These aren't debates. There's no central point that is discussed at length. These are just opportunities for someone to get the soundbite of the night that will be played ad nauseum on cable news networks and social media posts the next day. What we have today comes from the advent of television debates that elevated style over substance. In 1960, the first televised presidential debate took place between John F. Kennedy and incumbent Vice President Richard Nixon. Nixon was tired recovering from knee surgery, and he had a suit that blended into the background. JFK, however, was tan, energetic, and had a skilled makeup team. It's a myth that radio listeners thought Nixon won on substance.
So that's the thing is, where I do understand that rhetoric has something to play with debate, right? When you implement fallacies, it's almost like you're implementing a cheat code in a game. And if nobody notices that you're implementing that cheat code, you get away with it, right? No one's the wiser. But as soon as someone calls that out, and that's why we need to be able to understand debate, is to be able to call out those fallacies when we see them in a understanding way, right? Again, the screaming, all that does is then raises their defenses, right? And it immediately turns them away from listening to what you have to say next. But if you can use that rhetoric and you can sway their idea into understanding where you're coming from instead of just oh, you're implementing this, and start attacking them for implementing that fallacy, saying that's a fallacy, my friend. We need to stay away from those. And if they still to persist, there's only so much that we can do, right? Some people are just too far gone. But we need to be continuing to press forward with the idea that we need to get back to some kind of logical understanding, some kind of logical discussions. And again, that's what I'm trying to do with my channel. So we'll see if it ends up getting any kind of traction, but that's what the attempt is.
Substance, whereas TV audiences thought JFK won because he looked better. But a televised format at the very least helped JFK and did not help Nixon. This is one reason no incumbent U.S. president took part in debates until Gerald Ford in 1976. And he probably should have skipped them because the following gaffe he made about the Soviet Union was widely seen as costing him the election.
There is no Soviet domination of Eastern Europe, and there never will be under a Ford administration.
This was also 1 year after the premiere of Saturday Night Live, which began its tradition of parodying presidential debates, including mocking Ford's gaffe about Soviet domination.
Certainly anyone can crack under the pressure of these debates and say something incredibly dumb. But to set the record straight, could you describe what you saw on your last visit to Poland?
Well, Miss Montgomery, last year I visited the capital of Poland. And let me just say from the outset that Milwaukee is a beautiful city.
The gaffe hunting has been present in presidential debates ever since. And it's
So yeah, Dave, so where fallacies, not accepted in debates, why aren't they accepted in debates? It really depends upon the type of fallacy, I guess, really, when it boils down to it. Some might be logical, some probably not as much, right? See, we must have missed J.D. Vance cooked Tim Walz. Oh man, dang. Yeah, back when SNL was still funny, exactly. But yeah, so again, the rhetoric behind debates, the fallacies behind debates, some of them can be positive. Fallacies are not accepted because they are fallacies. You need to point them out and make people not use them. And that's the thing, is fallacies, other than maybe like the slippery slope fallacy that has become basically an actual thing, not just a fallacy in cases. But that's the thing, is it is a fallacy in some cases, and it has become reality in other cases. So like Dave said, some things may be a fallacy and may be utilized in a debate, but we have to be on the edge of our seat for them, to be watching for them, to understand when it is a fallacy and when not, I guess, is what it boils down to on that one.
Made its way into popular debate channels. Jubilee is a prime example of this, and it's so copyright sensitive, I'm just going to show you Jubilee parodies, but you get the idea because the parodies accurately reflect how people act in these exchanges.
My first claim is that I don't think I should be murdered. Hello. Okay, I'm going to talk really fast in order to make a half-baked point and just hope you don't call me out on it. Does it really matter if I kill you? Secondly, hold on. Please don't interrupt me.
Ben Shapiro has been on Jubilee,
and that's, again, the Gish Gallop. That is probably the best example of sophistry that we know of today. The putting forth so many claims that someone cannot take them all on at once. And so as soon as you lose track of how many they've presented, or you don't confront one individual claim, then all of a sudden you don't know anything about what you're talking about, and they smear you all over their audience. And that's the thing, is you've got these echo chambers where they've got their audience, we've got our audience, and nobody seems to want to sit in the middle somewhere and actually take both points of view. The vice presidential debate during the last campaign was a schooling for Tampon Tim. Yeah, I don't know if I actually watched the whole thing, but I can imagine it was. They rely on deceptive, illogical, and weak connections which undermine the truth-seeking purpose of debate. And that's the thing. That's the thing, Dave, I mean, that's why we can't allow fallacies in our debates, is because they latch onto them and utilize them in every which way that they can. So we have to stick to logical, factual information so that they can't take off with their claim. Yeah, Jubilee claims everything, man. I was trying to put out Marte. I was trying to do Marte justice and give him some press, and they copy strike that one because he was on Jubilee, and I was covering Jubilee to give him some press. Slippery slope can be utilized as a fallacy, but it also can show true phenomenon, as we still have seen with the left's rapid slope slide down it. And that's like I said, that's the thing. That's the biggest thing right there, is even though it is a fallacy, it can be implemented as reality. And so some fallacies, they can probably be utilized as debate tactics.
He agreed with Michael Knowles that it's a very high stress environment because no matter how well of a case you make, everybody's just waiting to get that one viral moment where you get owned. And that's the only moment anyone remembers.
Some people have not done well on that show. And you did well on the show. But I've noticed without name.
And Michael Knowles, he has got to be one of my people that I look up to. As far as the way he debates, the way he can take people on without raising suspicion, without causing them to be upset by the way he rebuts their takes, and it's really impressive to me how Michael Knowles debates.
Some people have had a tough time because you can win for 2 hours of that show. If the show is 2 hours and 2 minutes long, you can win 2 hours of it. If you flub for two seconds,
it's very high pressure. It's very high pressure.
You lose. You look crazy. You look terrible.
Because it all gets clipped. It's all about the clips that come out from the thing, for sure.
Even regular people on social media treat comment debates as an opportunity to own the other side, like by reposting a poorly worded response with snarky commentary that allows your own fans to virtually dogpile the other person. This is why I find social media debates to usually be a waste of time, and so in many cases, I'll just privately message the person.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I have tried, and I'll continue to try to a certain extent to engage people in comments on social media, and every time it just drives me at the wall because I don't know if they're a troll, if they're a bot, if they're just immediately coming in to harass. But it was like the tattoo video, man, dude. I just gotta say, guys, I gained like 45 subscribers in the last 28 days. So the other week, last week or whatever it was, I asked you guys if I could get some subscribers to make 100 subs. I am now up to 130 subs, and that is amazing. And I have you all to thank for that. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the support that I've gotten from the community here. And TNT, very much appreciated joining me. Thank you very much for being here. So we'll get back to this.
And I disagree with. So this leads me to ask, how do we restore the dignity of debates? Well, first, we should treat debates like reading a textbook, not watching a wrestling match. Debates are an entertaining way to be educated, and my conversion in high school was due in large part to the debates William Lane Craig had with atheists and Patrick Madrid had with Protestants. But a person could be good at winning debates and still hold a false worldview. That's why we should score debates not on who seemed more confident or left their opponent speechless, but by taking notes to see which arguments were used and how they were answered. This opens the door for us to learn more about all of the evidence and all the arguments involved, since a debater might forget to include them.
But that's the thing is, like he says, we need to be treating it like a textbook. The debate scene, where it is fun because it's hot, it's really rapid pace, and we're heated, we're having fun. It doesn't move the conversations forward. And that's the point of a debate, is to understand so that we can get some common ground, so that we can understand how to process forward, to proceed to a better, to more ideal, right? The degeneracy, like I've mentioned before, I don't like it. I'm trying to get away from the degeneracy. In order to get away from the degeneracy, we have to have discussions on what degeneracy is, what steps that we can take to get away from it, the things to get things taken care of, right? If you followed me from the day one, I know not many of you have, But if you followed me from day one, even when I was complaining about the economy, the ecological, the ecosystem, there we go. The ecosystem, I was still trying to give things to do to fix it, right? Some solutions. If you're only thinking of the problem, you just run around in circles. And that's what we're doing right now with these debates. We're not moving forward. And while we're doing this, things behind the scenes are happening that we don't want to be happening. So we need to be moving the conversations forward and not just being entertained by the MMA match that it is. What is it? Give them bread and circus and they'll never revolt, I believe is what the saying goes, or something like that. Has the debate scene become the new circus for the people that are more logical, but not logical? I don't know. Right? I'm not saying that anybody individually is on that level, but we need to get back to a more dialectical debate scene. And there are some debaters out there that have some dialectical ideas. It's just when they get into the ring and the other side starts to attack them, they don't have any choice but to match that energy. Apprentice says, Michael knows his very disarming personality, which really helps put the other side on ease. And that's the thing is, I don't know if I'll be a disarming personality. I don't know if I will be or not. I try to be for that reason, because we need more people that are willing to put the other side at ease to talk to us. We need to have that more discussions where there is the scene for the Andrew Wilsons and the Destinies in the debate scene where they just going at it and they're fun and exciting. I, for one, am tired of that idea. I don't like the screaming match, and I would like to see a better way of handling it. And I'll show you a couple of. Hopefully, I get to it. How far are we into it? We're only about a half an hour in, so hopefully, I'll get to it. But there's a few debates that I would like to show from Andrew Wilson on one side where they're basically being sophistry-ish. And dialectically-ish, right? Nothing is dialectical anymore, is what it seems like. Nobody sits down and actually tries to understand the other side. They just sit down and they're trying to push their side onto the other side. Hey, Barn, appreciate you joining me, buddy. Really appreciate you in the engagement. Let's see. Yeah, it's a tonal thing. And that's the thing is I'm an angry person. I have a very a temper about me, and I've had to work very hard to take that temper down. And so I don't want to lose control over that when I get into the debate scene. And so I want to be able to take it with a more cool, calm, level-headed idea so that I can get my point across, because I see reality. I see the logic in reality. Let's see. I still like making libtards look stupid. But it's better to move the convo forward. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, Dave, is like I said, there's place for everything. There's a place for the people who are making them look stupid. And you know, with any luck, maybe I can do my part. But also move the conversation forward. Tater temper, fake news. Unfortunately not. I've worked very hard to be who I am today, and I appreciate that it's hard for you guys to tell that I'm telling the truth. But I am. All right. So I think that might be everything. I think I've called everybody else that's new out in the chat. So again, if I don't call you out, caps lock me and tell me, hey, Tater, I'm here.
Just not have enough time to include all of them in his discussion. That's why it's silly when some atheists think they've refuted William Lane Craig by only responding to what he's presented in formal debates and not his much deeper material in his academic works. Now, that doesn't mean we shouldn't make powerful arguments in debates that lead to memorable moments. A lot of people remember the colorful questions I asked Destiny in our debate on abortion, but I wasn't trying to gotcha him. I sincerely wanted to analyze Destiny's worldview and show where it leads to absurd outcomes. In fact, when I recapped the debate with Ben Shapiro, I corrected Ben on a misunderstanding he had related to Destiny's argument. And to help create this kind of environment, debate participants should see themselves not as gladiator-like opponents, but as teaching partners who work together to help an audience understand what's being debated.
And again, that's right there. That's what I'm trying to get back to, right? Is the understanding of why you think that it's going to work that way, right? I was listening to a little bit of Vic's channel, and the if you want to call it a debate, with a gentleman named Scotty, and it didn't seem like he was willing to actually listen to reason and logic when it comes down to it. He was just trying to say, this is what words tell me, so that this is the way it's supposed to be. And even the reality, the words that he's reading have almost their own interpretation, right? So again, it comes back to needing to get back to an understanding with everyone and common ground. Hey, Rain, appreciate you joining me in here. Like the way he phrased that, being teaching partners for each other. And that's exactly it. That's this gentleman here, I have a lot of respect for. I haven't seen much of his material yet. I did kind of dive into some of it after I watched this. And he does have a calm, logical perspective about it. And I would like to maybe have a conversation with him one day. Hey, his words of love. Appreciate you joining me and commenting. I really appreciate you being here. All right. Looks like everybody, yeah, scatty. All right. Anyway, moving on.
When I debated Ben Watkins on God's existence, we exchanged our opening statements beforehand, and that allowed us to have a substantive debate where each of us could present the best case to the audience and let them decide. After the debate ended, Ben gave me a hug on stage, and he said to me, "We did it," because we saw ourselves as partners, not enemies, trying to present our best case. Now, that does not mean Christians shouldn't try to win these exchanges or go for an intellectual knockout. It just means you should fight fairly without fighting dirty.
And that's again where we need to get back to is fighting, understanding each other, fighting fairly, getting some common ground, moving the conversations forward so that we don't continue to just chase our own tail while everything in the background is happening and we don't realize it. We don't see that it's an actual problem until it's too late. Hey, Chaos Theory, appreciate you joining the stream. Appreciate the engagement. Why shouldn't you give a zombie mashed potatoes? Because they're already a little gravy. Well done, sir. Appreciate the humor and the comment. Very much appreciated there. All right.
For example, one unfair tactic is to unload as many arguments as possible so that your opponent has no time to answer them all, and then claim victory over the arguments he did not have time to respond to. This is called the Gish Gallop, named after Duane Gish, who would use it in debates on evolution, where he would just list a ton of things he said evolution could not explain and left his opponent no time to answer all of his questions. That was my...
That's where it comes from. Makes sense. Makes sense. The Gish Gallop. That guy was galloping over everybody else. So that's the thing is, like I'd mentioned earlier, that is one of the biggest examples of sophistry nowadays. Is just, I'm going to give you everything that I can possibly give you. And when you can't confront even one of those claims, then I've won. I'm very smart, right? So that's what these clips are these days. And so, like I was saying earlier, I'm trying to be very careful about my clips, but I'm trying to get them down to where people will actually view them. Because again, the video that I just put out was about 17 minutes long, and it got a crap ton of views. Whether that was because of the timing, that was because of the rage bait title, I don't know. All I do know is it's really doing a good job, and so I'm trying to mimic that. So when you guys see the videos that I put out, if by some chance you ever see a content that doesn't matter, or that doesn't match, please let me know. I'm always open to making it so that people are not viewed as incorrect. Whether you're left or you're right, I don't care. I just want to make sure that everything is getting across right so that people are understanding the positions in entirety. All right.
My main critique of the sedevacantism debate hosted on Pints with Aquinas a few years ago, where Peter Diamond unleashed dozens of accusations that took me 45 minutes to address in a scripted rebuttal, and so would be impossible to address in a 7 to 10 minute live rebuttal period in a debate. A variant of this occurs in online posts where people think the guy who endlessly piles on posts and ends up speaking last is correct, when all that proves is he just might not have a life, so he can engage in endless replies. This is why I've had a strict rule for years to not do rebuttals to rebuttals, so it doesn't end up in an endless cycle, but to instead just have a conversation with the person after our initial exchange.
I'm assuming he's talking about like video rebuttals, and I can see that. That would be the same way that I would be after 1 or 2 rebuttals. If I send you a video, if I do a video and you rebuttal it, like, I don't know exactly how it would be with like DMs or something like that, but that's interesting. I think I have a newcomer in the chat, so let's see. Audrey, appreciate you being here. We know the odds of getting 60 senators to support the SAVE Act or ending the filibuster are very slim, right? Polymarket has the SAVE Act as just a 13% chance of being signed into law in 2026. Really? Yeah, I don't know much about it. I was just kind of touching on it today. I just wanting to bring the attention to it because it's something that I haven't really done a whole lot of research about, to be completely honest. So it was kind of more toward the end of my stream, but I appreciate the comment, and I'll definitely be looking into that. Hopefully we get to what I'm at least wanting to talk about. And then, yeah, I like our panel discussions. Our panels are discussions. I like that our panels are discussions. Thank you, Mr. B. I do too. I like how it's been going. And again, if anybody's in the chat that's just joined, I do have live panels on Thursdays. If you're not part of my Discord, just join the Discord and you can be part of the discussion. I'm really, really open to a lot of different sides. I just want to get understanding of people. And again, thank you very much for the engagement, Audrey. I really appreciate newcomers. If you like the stream, if you don't like the stream, feel free to say, you know, what you would like to see more. I'm always open for different things to discuss too.
Provided the person is of goodwill. The absolute dumbest version of this problem are clips online where one person makes a point and no response is shown, and so it's assumed that the person making the point owned the other guy, aka whoever spoke last.
And that's the thing is, I've seen debates just recently, in fact, where the person is not as fast on the ball, and so the person just kind of tramples over them, right? And they don't have an opportunity to get their word out, and that's where I feel like I'm I can step on people's toes when I need to. When I'm in a debate, it's probably going to be a little bit different than when I'm in my panel discussions. But I don't like interrupting people. And so when I'm in a debate, I want to be able to give them their side, their piece. And if they're trying to interrupt me, I try to give them the floor. If I try to interrupt them, however, 90% of the time, it doesn't happen always the same way. So like he's saying, where you're quiet, you're mellow, you're going to get trampled over. So we need to have more calm discussions. Like Mr. B was saying about the panels being discussions where we're just talking. We're just people trying to see eye to eye. Don't call it art. Thank you very much for being here, buddy. 13% chance is better than 0. Republicans do hold the majority of the Senate for their vote, but there are going to be corrupt Republicans too. Voters need to demand their yes vote. Again, so even if we don't cover that, thank you for bringing that up, Audrey, and don't call it art. We do need to be focused on the Save America Act. We need to have ID, and I'll talk about that hopefully here in a bit. But we'll get back to the sophistry versus dialectical debate style.
Wins. Consider this post, which claims when Charlie Kirk met his match at Oxford, where he debated
Good night.
Scholars rather than average college students in the U.S.
There are moral truths that are transcendent of time, place, and matter. Okay, but so just to clarify, you believe that this is in the Bible. This is laid out in the Bible, that man shall not sleep with man, and so therefore it's also repeated throughout the New Testament.
All right, cool. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you letting me know. It shouldn't surprise me.
Testament as well. In the book of Matthew, Jesus reaffirms the biblical standard for marriage.
Okay, so I'm going to make two very, very quick points. So the first, so if we look at the Old Testament in isolation, just to start off with as an example. So let's look at Exodus 35:2, which suggests that if you work on the Sabbath, you should be put to death. If you look at Leviticus 11:7, it suggests that if you have pork, you should be put to death. Let me finish, I'll be done. If you plant two crops side by side, you should be stoned by your...
And this is a perfect example of a gish gallop. 1 second, you can't interrupt me, but I'll interrupt you as soon as I get a chance.
Entire village. If you wear a suit, which you are wearing now, that contains two different fibers intertwined into the same jacket, you should be burned at the stake by your own mother.
And that's only two specific types of fabric. So, yeah, maybe actually know the Bible before you try to preach the Bible, my friend, because that's why I do not try to preach the Bible. That's why I try to take a secular view of everything. And even in a secular view, your side doesn't make sense a lot of the time, my friend.
Now, following that rationale, in Leviticus...
Prentice, woot, we got big enough for bot attention. Yeah, we must be making it, my friend. We must be making it. His voice is annoying. Yes, it is. I have to agree with that one. Let's see. It's also just quote mining without any context or interpretation. And that's the thing that's a lot of I'm assuming you're talking about like the clips and stuff nowadays. I'm not keeping track of the chat, so I apologize. I'm trying to give you guys shout outs though. But yeah, clips are not, they're just clip farms. They're clip chimps.
18:22, and it states that man shall not sleep with man. Why aren't we burning ourselves at the stake as well? Why aren't we stoning ourselves to death?
I'm gonna be careful with that one, my friend, because things are happening with that, and I don't even really want to discuss it. That's kind of disgusting.
Oh, hey, 2010 called, and they want their Reddit level new atheist arguments back. This isn't advanced scholarship. It's something Charlie was well aware of and addresses, which the clip deceptively cuts off.
Do you care to address my main contention that Christ affirmed biblical marriage in the book of Matthew? And can you tell me the difference between the ceremonial, the moral, and the ritual law? And then finally...
Get 'em!
Also, tell me about Christianity, the difference between the new and the old covenant, or are you just going to cherry pick certain verses of ancient Israel that do not
Get 'em!
apply to new Christianity?
I'd also add this guy was flat out wrong because the Old Testament does not prescribe capital punishment for violating ritual purity laws like mixing fibers or eating pork. Another unfair tactic are using insults and attacks to just rile up your base.
Oh, okay, Barn Diesel. Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to assume anything because you know what assuming does, right? That and this dude is doing with the Bible. It was meant for both. Okay. And then, yeah, Apprentice, he's not even remotely right on at least half of that. Yeah, exactly. Like all of it is just like, what? What are you talking about, bro? Maybe actually read the Bible before you actually try to like preach it, and know the Bible before you preach it, especially. Also the difference between deceptive and prescriptive text. Yeah. All right. We'll get back.
Consider this clip from X with 63 million views that says that this girl cleared Charlie Kirk.
Abortion is murder and should be illegal.
She cleared 63 million. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Well, what does fetus mean?
A fetus is in utero.
What does fetus mean in Latin?
What the I'm sorry, is this a language class?
It means little human being.
Ooh, his smile is very creepy. Okay.
Smiling is creepy?
No, your smile specifically.
Got it.
But let's go back to, we're losing track here.
No, but what species is the fetus?
The fetus is not a species yet. It's technically classified as a parasite until it is viable.
She doesn't.
I can't speak for it. I don't really honestly personally know whether it is classified as that or not, but I can't honestly personally believe that it is actually classified as a parasite, because a parasite is feeding off the host and a embryo is not feeding. It actually reciprocates and helps the health and the longevity of the female's body while it's inside of it. So it's not a parasite. There's no way that you can consider it a parasite. I don't know why that anybody would.
even know a human fetus belongs to the human species, but her uninformed fans just want their side to own the other person, so they don't care. Moreover, these formats aren't geared towards slowing the conversation down to expose this kind of ignorance. Instead, each side is motivated to constantly interrupt their opponent and insult or mock him so he loses his train of thought. This makes it seem to a casual observer like the person being interrupted has no answer, when in reality his opponent is unfairly attacking his ability to give an answer. Watch how Jay Dyer uses this tactic when debating Tim Gordon.
No, this is your dogmatic statements that are supposed to provide clarity.
Right.
They need to be interpreted by you because they're ambiguous.
No.
Are they clear or ambiguous?
Perfectly clear.
The
Hindus
really? You just said it was bad. You said it was bad.
Wait. But
is it clear or bad?
You finish, Jay. I'll go after you're done. They
have recourse to God.
Trads will do the same thing.
So just again, what does that do?
We have sedevic
deflection, irrelevant.
No. That's a direct object.
That's a genetic fallacy.
That's a direct object.
Genetic fallacy to say that because
not a genetic fallacy.
It is.
I'm a logic professor.
You just said I don't know. So appeal to yourself. Right? Appeal to authority.
I'm a logic professor, so I know everything that there is to know about logic. Yeah, that is an appeal to, I don't even know what it'd appeal to, but it would not be that would be definitely a logical fallacy. That is wild to say. I know everything because I have studied this one particular study.
Appeal to authority, genetic fallacy. Do you miss another fallacy?
They believe.
You're a king of fallacies.
They
Just
for the record, we agree.
They believe. They have recourse to God in confidence and love.
No, they don't. Start.
Yeah, thanks, Trey. I appreciate you like confirming that. It is not classified as a parasite. Nowhere in majors biology is it referred to as a parasite. Appreciate you pointing that out because again, I can't. Yeah, there's no way that I can see that. Like these kids, like where are they getting this information? Oh man, just Google exists. I know that it might be a little bit more extreme than some of them can handle. I guess I don't know. Yeah, I just looked it up. And everything said, no, it's not a parasite. Thanks, Barn Diesel. Appreciate you also confirming that. Yeah, Google exists, Naima. I don't know why you're having a hard time with this one. And unfortunately, I'm probably going to be covering, if I get to it, a little bit of the debate with her and Andrew as the sophistry. Because if you haven't seen that debate, it is pure sophistry on her end. And Andrew is trying his hardest to get to the bottom of what she understands. And she won't allow the conversation to move forward. So this is why I'm having an issue with it. And that's it, Dave. I agree with you 100%. It's not an embryo. It's not a zygote or anything else other than a baby. It is a baby, simple as that. It is an offspring of the people that did it, and it's their responsibility to take control over it. Not to get rid of it, not to call it something that they can feel like they can, like there's so many things that they come up with and it's not okay anymore. We've had enough of it.
Sentence over. They seek.
Now, to be clear, none of us is perfect when it comes to charitable disagreement. Sometimes in debates, I'll get really excited and talk over the other person, or I'll be worried I'll forget what I'm thinking about.
And that's my biggest problem is I forget what there's like, okay, this is a point that I need to say about this part of what their stance is. And then they'll get to this part of their stance. And I have forgotten this part that I'm going to refute. And so there is some level of interruption and back and forth and heated style of debate, even in a dialectical. And that's why I'm trying so hard with my open panels to give the floor and try to accept the floor when I can and things like that, right? It doesn't matter what stage of development it is. It's a human. A toddler is not a man, but it is a human. An infant isn't a toddler. A fetus is not an infant, but it is still all human. I agree 100% on that one as well, Apprentice. TVT, thank you very much for being in here. Smells starchy in here. Yes, very, very starchy. These kinds of people have to change the language so that they can feel better about taking that life. And that's the thing. Everything is being changed in a description. Everything that we knew of when I was a kid has been changed and to fit the rhetoric of today.
About and interrupt, which I unfortunately did in my dialogue with ex-Christian musician John Steingard. However, in some cases, you have to interrupt in a debate to keep the other person from filibustering or rambling on and on about nothing.
And that's where I do agree with him, because a lot of the debate moderators are not, and I could be absolutely wrong, but if they start to filibuster or something like that, it should be essentially the moderator that kind of steps in and says, yeah, that's not allowed, because the debate is not just to win. That's the thing about sophistry, is it is just getting the win. I did what I had to do to make you look stupid or make myself look smart so that I made my points look right. Other than that, there's nothing about sophistry debate that is actually worth utilizing for debate, for conversations, for moving that conversation, that issue forward. Again, if you only think of the problem and never think of the solution, you're just going to run around in circles, and you're avoiding the problems that are actually happening at home. Let's
to avoid
see if we can get through this, maybe getting a little bit further into my stream than I thought it would. But
answering your question or confronting your objection. But there's a clear difference between keeping a conversation on track and using manipulative tactics to score a cheap win. And sometimes those tactics don't even work, and they just make you look like an insecure bully. For example, most people agree Donald Trump lost his first 2020 debate with Joe Biden because he was aggressively interrupting Biden, probably to try to throw him off his game.
Vote now.
You're going to pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't want
you're a
to answer the
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
wouldn't you answer that
because
question?
the question
Supreme Court justice,
the
radical
question,
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is
up,
on,
man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe? Who's on your list?
Right, gentlemen, I think
This
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the court.
We have
We're not going to give a list.
But in 2024, Trump won his debate with Biden because he was more reserved and let Biden hang himself with his own words.
Dealing with everything we have to do with.
He was also a little bit off of his rocker by that point in time too. But the thing is a lot of the presidential debates are not really debates anymore. They're just, let me show you how they're not the person that you want and how I am the person that you want, and so on and so forth. Kind of, I don't know. I have a lot to cover, and I'm probably not going to be able to get it all covered, but we'll see what we can get here.
I do want to show that you were also interrupting me. So
yeah, Pearl, muting your guests is a very
yeah, if Pearl is muting her guests, that's a little concerning. I don't know for sure. I haven't watched this particular debate, but if she is, I'm going to do my best not to mute my people unless they absolutely start causing an issue to have to mute. Hey, Crucible Crusader, appreciate you being here, buddy, and the engagement. Greatly appreciated. All right.
Disrespectful thing to do.
Okay, and I'm going to do it again.
I will never debate Pearl again because she's the
yeah, so apparently your show or not, show a little bit of respect for your opponent. I will try my best. I know that when emotions get heated and they start showing their true colors, sometimes it's not as easily done as said, but I will be doing my best to try to keep that kind of idea out of my show. All right, so I think I've said hey to everybody that's come in. Again, if you're new, please caps lock me and say, hey, Tater, I'm here. If you haven't liked the stream, please like the stream, share, subscribe. Definitely need to get me to some monetization so that I can get some following and make my stance known, right? If you haven't changed all of the chat, right, the top chat to all chat, it's a little later in the day to be saying that, but if you haven't done that yet, please do so. And we'll go ahead and get back to this real quick, hopefully.
The only person I have ever debated who interrupted me during the dedicated speaking parts of a debate.
That's just not true. In fact, marriage is the best. You can't interrupt when I'm talking. Doesn't want to get married, or he's dragging his feet. How many times have you can't interrupt him until the time?
That's a little rough. I don't know when this happened. Oh, really? Don't call it art. I've heard Pearl talking about muting openly. She's proud of it. For her, it's about money and not losing viewership, but also probably a little so she can win. Fair enough. Fair enough. Wick, are you new? I thought I'd say hi to you, but appreciate you being here. I keep saying, shout me out, but you haven't yet. So maybe I did say hey, but anywho, long story short, if Pearl is doing, and that's the thing is I need money, guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have to grift. It's not my ideal thing. But especially now I've been out of work for some time. And so I'm getting strapped. So at some point in time, I'm going to have to start begging for money, but I don't want to be a clown show. I don't want this turning into a clown world. I want to be the change that I want to see in the world, essentially. And on that note, I guess it's getting kind of later in the day. I don't necessarily want to spend too much time on the same old. So let me go ahead and jump forward here because we do need to. This does have some good points.
As just an enemy and not as a fellow human being made in the image of God. 2 Timothy chapter 2.
And that's really it. Is we need to be treating everybody as if they're a child of God, like they are. Right. And I know that we are all very, very tired of getting walked over because that's not what I'm about. But we have to give them the grace until they've really given us no choice. And they've completely turned their back on us. And even the ones that are in their basement doing nothing but waiting for that sign to pick up their Bibles. Right?
Says, the Lord's servant must not be quarrelsome, but kindly to everyone, an apt teacher, forbearing, correcting his opponents with gentleness.
Mr. B, I appreciate you saying that. I do have a Cash App. The Cash App is on the bottom of the screen. It is also in the description. I am not asking for money, right? I'm just saying that if you want to keep me around, it's a very good possibility that I'll have to start asking for money because I do want to stay around, but it might start to get a little issue-ish. Sheesh. All right.
God may perhaps grant that they will repent and come to know the truth, and they may escape from the snare of the devil after being captured by him to do his will. I'm glad I didn't try to break Stephen Boyce's spirit when I debated him 2 years ago, because, as I mentioned in a previous episode, Stephen has now become Catholic. He even said that mine and Jimmy's demeanor in our debate was helpful in his conversion.
When you and I debated with Samuel and as well as with Jimmy Aiken, I was...
You guys, I'm not saying that Wick is new. I'm just saying if he hadn't been in the stream till now. I know that Vic was live and there were some people that were watching Vic. Jeez, stop giving him a hard time.
battling things that you didn't know, and you were friendly, and we maintained a friendship after that and have continued that friendship. And that is a huge part in me being able to listen to my opponent. If you would have come after me, like I'm seeing on a lot of YouTube, videos between trad this and trad that, and you're anathema on everything.
To debate Alex O'Connor on that question.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get through this at this point because he does have some good points, but I don't know how many of them are actually necessary, and I want to get past it.
And you're calling me a liar. I never went to the moon.
Well, obviously. I mean,
Okay.
what surprise. You knew who you were going to be here. You knew who was going to be here before you got here.
12 of us.
Well, TVT, this is the biggest issue that I have with asking at all, is this will never happen on my channel. That's all I have to say about it. Because that is I've had a couple that are similar to it. And I don't know, it's not just that one. It's a couple of, and it's getting a little irritating. So by all means, don't feel like you need to. I'm not asking for it. I'm just definitely needing to try to stay around somehow. But I appreciate you letting me know about that.
Like it's a surprise.
I
It's a good
am
acting.
surprised. I didn't realize that you thought it was all a fake.
You probably won't be surprised to learn that Buzz Aldrin punched Sabrell in the face for calling him a liar about going to the moon.
You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black, if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresent.
Thanks, Dave. That's all I need, bud. Just not that finger, more of like this finger. But I appreciate it.
Get it away from me. You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
And if debates like this make you think we didn't land on the moon, then you are the prime example of how not to treat debates when it comes to forming a worldview. Now, people will say to me, but you debated destiny, so why not debate some other person with insane or depraved views? First,
Oh, thank you, TVT. I appreciate that, buddy. I will, like I said, that will never happen on my channel. And I will do my best to make sure that you guys are actually, like, you feel like you're getting what you pay for. Because that is, again, one of my biggest issues. And that's part of the reason I started my channel in the first place. So I want to give good content that people enjoy watching. I know I'm not anything to really care to watch, but I try to have some entertainment.
Debated destiny on abortion and online explicit materials, which are widely accepted evils. And I only debated destiny to get a do-over of when Lila Rose and Kristen Hawkins debated him. And the second person that I debated on explicit materials said she'd only debate.
Jeez, they even had to like blur that one out. Like, I know that like YouTube probably didn't have a problem with it. But I'm grateful that they did, because I probably would have had a problem with it, and I probably would have wanted to, and probably wouldn't have been able to figure it out like they did. So props to them.
Me if it was a tag team debate and Destiny helped her. In those debates also, I used Destiny's views to show his position on issues like abortion was incorrect. I would never do a 2-hour debate just on some insane perversion like bestiality. And honestly, given what Destiny has advocated for recently, I'm not sure if I debate him in the future either. So instead of debating senseless controversies or people who are not of goodwill, let's focus on discussing the most important questions human beings need to answer, like whether there is a God, or what we must do to be in a right relationship with God, and whether widely practiced evils are indeed evil and alienate us from God. We should also focus on presenting good arguments over empty rhetoric. Over 2,500 years ago, there were two kinds of people who publicly debated in ancient Greece. First,
and this is where he actually starts to explain the difference between sophistry and the dialectical on the debate scene. And this is where he basically starts talking about what we need to be doing to get back to that, I guess. Looks like we have a newcomer. I did see some MSM. There you are, buddy. She got her puppies out. Thank you very much for the engagement. Appreciate you being here, buddy. You caught more of the stream than we've gotten in the last couple times, I think, if I remember right. I understand life happens and people have to cancel, but how hard is it to put out a notice saying so and planning a reschedule? And that's just it. One of the biggest things that when I'm starting my stream, like if it's not right at, and I get people in the chat that are starting to scream at me, and I know that they're just joking, because life happens and we have things that we can't get right at stream, but that does not make me feel good, right? I told you I'd be here at 2. That's when I'm going to be here. Integrity needs to come back, right? And that's the biggest thing is I've tried to stick to a schedule so that you guys know when I'm going to be on. And when I change that schedule, I try to give some kind of a notice. When I changed to Wednesday uploads, it wasn't that greatest of notice, but I try, right? But yeah, we need to be more understanding of our viewers, the people who pay us. And it goes back into the government, right? The government needs to be paying attention to who pays them, us, right?
There were the sophists, from the Greek word for wisdom, sophos. You could call them wise guys, and they were the original debate me bros. They had a notorious reputation for only caring about winning arguments, even if they used flimsy arguments to make their case. For them, truth took a back seat. That's why the first sophist, Protagoras, said, "Man is the measure of all things." The other kind of debaters were philosophers, from the Greek for lovers of wisdom. Arguments were a tool they used to discover objective truth. They weren't just ways of owning people. That's why the Greek philosopher Socrates said, "Renouncing the honors at which the world aims, I desire only to know the truth, and to live as well as I can, and when I die, to die as well as I can." Socrates' sincere desire for truth was why early church fathers like Justin Martyr saw him as a precursor to Jesus Christ, the truth itself.
And that's just it, is we need to get back to the real truth, which is Christ. And there are so many different versions of that now. Which one's the right one? Right? We had a discussion on one of my open panels about faith-based laws, and I've talked about it a couple times on my streams. And I think I might actually bring it back up into the open panel one of these nights and discuss what it really boils down to, faith-based laws, and see if really people want faith to rule things, or if it's that they think their faith is what is talking about, right? Oh, Dave, I didn't really think it was me, and I don't care. That's just how Crusader and I say hi. It wasn't you. Yeah, I get it. Like I was saying, I don't care. You can flip me off. I don't care. I call myself a potato man. Yes, TBT. I would really appreciate you being on one of these panels one of these times. I know MSM is a little bit busy, and so I might be trying to get on Wednesday nights as well at some point in time. But for now, if you can join on Thursday night, that would be awesome. I would really like the other perspective. And we'll get back to this real quick and finish this off.
If you want a good book related to these two men, check out Peter Kreif's Socrates Meets Jesus. Finally, as believers, we should imitate the first Christians, people like the Jewish convert Apollos, who powerfully confuted those who denied Christ, and Stephen, who, as Scripture says, his opponents could not withstand the wisdom and the spirit with which he spoke. And if you want a good book on this subject, check out Gavin Ortland's The Art of Disagreeing, How to Keep Calm and Stay Friends in Hard Conversations. I also recommend, if you want to elevate substance and argument over rhetoric and style, check out debate books like the Zondervan Point Counterpoint series and similar books where you can learn about theological subjects in debates that focus on the arguments. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to support us at Trendhorn.
Far right, interesting. I appreciate the warning. No warning needed, but I'm still really curious on your perspectives, because I don't even know what I would be considered. To be completely honest, I don't know what I would consider myself. All right, so this is a debate that I would say would be more along the lines of a dialectical style debate that Andrew has done. So, like I had mentioned before, Andrew, I have a lot of respect for Andrew, regardless of what he's going through in his personal life, what's happening with his channel, with what's happening with his viewership, whatever's happening in the background. I have a lot of respect for Andrew and how he handles himself in debates. Now, this was a little while ago, I'd say about a year ago that they did this one. And so it's maybe a little bit different than what he's dealing with now. Maybe he's gotten a little bit more jaded, a little bit more angry with his takes. I don't know. But let's take a look at this. This is just kind of a clip from the middle of this. It's nothing specific, just the way that they're handling each other's back and forth.
Due to birth control.
But I mean, how can you say that? There's
we have all the data that shows that it's due to birth control.
What data shows that eliminates all confounding factors of pollution of?
Because if you take a scale, there's actually a scale.
That'd be fun. Macho Man on a panel. That'd be fun. Yeah, MSM, this is one of my favorites too, to be completely frank. It has a lot of understanding on each other's views, and they actually talk to each other. It's one of his most respectful. And yeah, I mean, I would say I would definitely agree. Like, again, I feel like he matches energy, and a lot of the time you can feel their energy as you step into the ring. Like, you don't even need them to combat you sometimes. So where I do agree with you, I don't know if he were to be given the respect that he's expecting, would he always take this tact? Because I would like to think that he would. I would like to think that I would. But unfortunately, as even when we're talking to each other peacefully, calmly, we have our views, and we like to see our views pushed, right? Yeah, exactly. Apprentice. He matches energy. She was one of the most respectful opponents that we've seen him have. Appreciate that, Crusader. Really appreciate you dropping that. See, I love Angry Andrew. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but I want him to reach more as well. And this is how, right? So this is exactly it right here. Again, my open panel is what I'm trying to shoot back for, trying to push that idea back into the left's mind, right? Because again, we need the people on the other side of the table to have that same energy so that we can match it. If we have someone that's angry on the other side, we can't really do a whole lot but match that energy, because if we're just acting like he's acting now and they were to be bowing up at him, he would look like he's being run over. He would look like he's bending over and taking it, and we can't do that. So we need to be reaching out to those people that are willing to speak logically like this young lady here is.
And you can look it up now on your phone if you want to. But you can actually watch when birth control is introduced in the 70s, and you can see the birth rates go right, and
but
marriage
that says
rates
nothing about causation.
on a massive decline, and the same thing with abortion. So the thing is,
that says nothing about causation.
Okay,
you can put any two things
It's funny, yeah. So he can't deal with the stupid and the rudeness. He will get frustrated. He will give the rudeness back because becomes frustrated with stupid people. Yeah, and I agree with that. Unfortunately, I will be the same way. But kind of on a side note, it's funny, the video that I just posted about tattoos, I've getting a lot of, little tattoos are okay. Nothing against this girl, but what is the point of these? Really? I'm assuming this might be maybe a boyfriend or something. I don't know. I don't know. That's weird. Anyway, sorry. Ad hom, I guess there.
causation is a correlate, by the way.
Yeah.
So if we have strong enough correlates, like for instance, birth control being a thing which prevents birth, that seems like a really strong In fact, could you think of a single stronger correlate than birth control for why we might have a birth decline? One.
Yeah. I do think that pollution,
pollution?
Plastics, yes.
Come on, pollution?
Plastic pollution, yes.
Plastic pollution.
I do think that male fertility is on the decline because of chemicals, certain chemicals.
That plastic pollution
can you disprove
is
that?
More, hang on, I just want to make sure I get this right first.
Mm-hmm.
You think that plastics in the water and the plastics inside of your system have more to do with the falling birth rate than women on birth control?
Yeah, because I think most women get off of birth control eventually and start having kids.
When?
Where I don't disagree with her to a very, 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 very slight, minute extent about the microfibers, the microplastics, the chemicals. They are causing fertility issues. I'm not disagreeing with that. In fact, there's been studies that show microfibers in the reproductive organs of the male. So how can you say it's not? However, that could very easily be not even anything at all. Where we've got hundreds of millions of women on birth control and they straight out tell me they don't want kids, right? Again, I'm a single guy. I'm in the dating field. I'm watching all of these women that don't have kids or do have one kid, right? One kid is not replacement rate. You've got to have at least 2.5, 2 or 3 or something like that, right? You have to have 2. And then in order to replace the people that can't have kids, we have to do our part and have a third, right? I'm probably not going to have it. I failed my mission, and I'm to the age where if I'm lucky, I'll have kids. If I'm lucky, and it might be 1, 2, the most, right? But this idea that the chemicals and things like that can be more detrimental than women not wanting to have kids, fetus deletuses, that's wild to me to try to take that stance. And his face honestly says it all right there.
I don't think that, honestly, I don't think that it's that much later than it used to be.
It used to be when? Birth control's a new advent. That's something modern.
Oh, you mean so like not okay? The 1970s, I guess. Right
Yeah,
around
no,
the
they were
beginning of
still
the advent
having
of birth
babies in their
control.
20s. This
Yeah, and that's props, MSM. It's awesome that you tried, right? Life happens, and unfortunately, that's where the chemicals and things like that come into play. We won't get into that on this stream because that could be hours. But the long story short, we need people like that trying. My oldest sister, she couldn't have kids, and she tried to adopt. It didn't end up happening, but long story short, she tried to do what she could to keep that going. Yeah, I know I could adopt, and I've thought about that. Unfortunately, I've dated a lot of women with their own kids that are not my kids, and I have my doubts of being able to handle somebody else's kid. If I were to get it as a baby, maybe, but there's a waiting list for the newborns, where there's a waiting list for the people who, there's a waiting list for people wanting a newborn, where there's a waiting list for people, or for the kids waiting for people, right? Anyway, long story short, I do like kids and I do want kids, but I don't know about the adoption for me.
the pill was not as widespread as it is now, but I mean, yeah, obviously birth control would be a much stronger correlate than plastics. Plastics.
I mean, I disagree.
Plastics and male fertility. You're saying that.
How do you disagree with that one? I really don't understand that. Like, that again, going back to my feelings, that one is very statistical. We can look at statistics on how many women are on birth control and how many men have in their junk, right? I don't know how she keeps taking this stance, but we'll cover this a little bit more, and then we'll go into some more sophistry, and we'll cover that real quick.
That it drops male fertility to the point where they can't get women impregnated anymore?
I mean, if all you have to say is there's a strong correlation, I bet you could put up a graph that shows the concentration of plastic in the water, or concentration of whatever forever chemicals in the water or in food or whatever, and you could put the same birth rate graph.
It's funny because that's literally what she's saying. Like, you can literally prove her wrong. She's saying that by saying that, she's saying that she could literally prove herself wrong. I'll jump through real quick and just show you that they maintain that cordial attitude until the end. Like I said, this is not necessarily the debate that I'm covering. It's more of the attitude, the ability to listen.
Should they or shouldn't they? Your answer is because they can.
Well, in this particular case, I'm saying to you, men, since they can do this, right? And you agree that they can do this, what would be the imperative for why they don't do this?
Because I think it would be unfair. I think it'd be unjust. Because I think there are also ways in which women put in an additional amount of work. I mean, whether or not you want to argue that they're equivalent, women do the majority of the housework and child rearing, even working women.
If it's justice, and justice is about what's fair, then I think it's unfair that women don't have to sign up for selective service. And I think that it's unfair that they're always, for the most part, going to be held to a lower standard in enforcement roles than men. That's unfair. And since that's unfair that they're allowed to go in and get the same pay as a private in the Army, as a male private in the Army, or a male lieutenant in the Army, I think it's fair that they get the right to vote. It's fair that women don't.
Okay.
So again, like I said, not covering the debate itself. If you haven't seen this debate, I'd highly recommend it. Again, this is one of my more favorite debates from Andrew. I have a lot of respect for this young woman. I don't know if she has a stream of her own or how she does her thing. I'm not saying that you need to go subscribe to her or anything like that. Obviously, her takes are kind of swanky, but she's reasonable about how she's doing it, at least, right? So she went on to the Whatever podcast. Again, if you haven't checked out the Whatever podcast, or if you haven't checked out the Crucible, by all means, please check those two shows out. They have their own good and bad, of course, just like myself, right? So this one here is from the same girl that we saw in the Trent review. This one is named Naima. She was on the Jubilee, on the Surrounded, and apparently she is what's known as a Jubilee All-Star. I don't know what that means. Because she tries to basically play herself off as bigger than Andrew, essentially. And this whole debate is the second debate that they had together, and I would say it's all sophistry, the entirety of the debate from start to finish. So we'll just jump into a little bit and check it out. Yeah, Apprentice, I know. As soon as you said Naima on the other one, I knew you're going to have a problem with it. Yeah, she was so much worse than our enemy. Yeah, the Chuck. Yeah, this one's wild. I don't know which one's worse. If I would say she's worse or if I'd say Chuck's worse, but this one's wild. It means insufferable. Fair enough. All right, we'll get back to this real quick. See what else we can cover real fast.
Like objective definition of right and wrong.
That's your preference again.
Okay, Andrew, then why do you believe it's wrong?
What does it have to do with the what does me believing that
It's again, start to finish. It's like this the whole thing through. And Andrew's just completely and utterly frustrated with her. And so I don't want to say he's reverting to sophistry, because it's not like he's reverting to sophistry. It's that he has to have some kind of rebuttal to her sophistry. So the way he's acting and he's getting dramatic and things like that, that's basically his rhetoric, his way of doing things, right?
fucking TV right there's off when it's on have to do with your definition of this?
Ooh, wait, that's a red herring. Hold on, for my bingo.
Oh my God, that's not a red herring.
Yes,
I'm literally trying to stay on topic.
Wait, here, hold on, where's red
Can you
herring?
ground morality outside of your preference or not?
Boom.
Can you ground morality outside of your preference or not? You keep on saying it's wrong because it's wrong because it's wrong because it's wrong.
I've grounded morality in natural rights. I've already done this.
Now, what are natural
multiple
rights
times.
other than your preference?
What are natural rights other than my preference? Well, my preferences happen to align with our definition of natural rights.
So your natural rights are just your preference?
No.
Then what are they?
Natural rights are the right to life, the right to liberty, and honestly, the pursuit of happiness.
And what gives you
I think
those
that those are
rights
natural
other than
rights.
people's preferences?
It's not people's preferences that, it's not people's preferences that give you those rights. It's just that we are all naturally deserve them. Just being alive is what gives you those rights. I believe that all humans who are birthed into this world have a natural right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That's
and
a preference.
Our constitutional founders would agree with me.
Do you realize that's a preference?
So Trey, like I'd mentioned before, if I gotten a baby, maybe, right? So I'm not necessarily completely closed off to it. And as far as the view of narcissism, no, that's survival, my friend. That's survival. My bloodline. Everybody has that feeling. Just because I don't want to adopt right now doesn't mean I'm not going to. And it just means that I don't care for other people's kids. It doesn't mean that I couldn't be open to the idea. All right.
Sure, but what the fuck does that matter?
It matters because if you keep on claiming over and over again rights aren't preferences, and everything you give me is just a preference for a right.
I didn't
Anytime
claim
I ask
that
you
rights aren't preferences.
if you have good, whatever you think good is, what is it outside of what you prefer?
Andrew, all you want to do is have a descriptive argument. I want to actually hear your
Listen,
opinion.
the semantics are important to the debate.
No, dude.
Yes, dude.
Brian, what time is it?
4:15.
I'll sit here all day and do this. I'm telling you right now, we're not moving past this until you
Andrew,
can
but what
give
is
me
the
the
point
grounded
of this?
claim.
So this is what I'm referring to about the sophistry is she just immediately starts to appeal to the moderator, trying to figure out how long they've been talking about it. Instead of just engaging with the conversation, she's trying to divert it away from the actual conversation. And what's funny is the book that she has, and she'll explain it here in a bit, is ridiculous. Again, sophistry. Yeah, absolutely, Trey. I'm a pretty open person. It's just I have my stance, and again, I've dated a lot of women with their own kids, and they've given a bad name, right? Not saying that I have a problem with the kids. It's just it's hard to deal with the other people's kids. All right.
Pointless.
It's the most pointed.
It's pointless. You want to
Oh, Ducky. Yeah. I want a lot of kids because I want free labor, right? I'm kidding. That's what my parents always used to say, right? I had kids so that I have free slave labor or something like that, right? It's the whole point of having kids, isn't it? Oh, but I'm tis or something like that. Yeah, Ducky, but I'm tis. All right, moving on. Hey, gamer, appreciate you joining the stream. Oh yeah, you were working on your car. Appreciate you being here, buddy. There's been a lot that you've missed.
It's trying to evade.
Because you are afraid of voicing your own
Then all you have to
opinion
do
and
is
having to
tell me how you
defend it.
ground rights outside of your preferences, because you keep saying they're not your preferences.
You were the one who grounded rights and preferences, and that was your justification for fucking slavery.
You disagreed, though.
Yes.
So tell me how you ground them outside of preference.
They're inherent. It's natural law.
And what is natural law other than a set of preferences?
Natural law, I mean, it's a concept that there are inherent rights that every human deserves based on the fact that they're alive.
Okay.
Which is objective. We are alive objectively, unless the whole thing is a simulation.
Okay, so you're alive.
Sure.
You believe people have a right to be alive.
Yes.
That's a preference, right?
It happens to be my preference, yes.
Yeah, so this super chat here, well, I guess it wasn't a super chat because it was only $100 or whatever, or it's a super chat, not a TTS though. Naima, can you explain the difference between an internal critique and asserting a position? And that's the thing is, Andrew loves the internal critiques. He implements them quite often. And a lot of these lefts or the people opposite from him don't get that he's doing an internal critique and believe that he's asserting a position and just like start to believe that that's his position. And it's like, do you not even see your own position and the fallacies that are associated with that? So I won't necessarily continue to bore us with this particular debate. We have a little bit that I would like to cover this week because it is fairly important. But long story short, this book that I had mentioned here on her left, she has created a fallacies bingo. If you haven't seen this, she created a game. Now, again, where there is a place for things such as Speakeasy. If you haven't seen Speakeasy's open panel on Friday nights where they do debates and then the last person standing wins a cash prize and things like that, phenomenally entertaining, right? Phenomenally interesting. However, it becomes a popularity contest. It's not about the debates as much as who's the most entertaining. And where that is necessary, right, to make that money. And unfortunately, I will probably have to go that route. I don't want to go that route any more than I absolutely have to, right? And so where I do understand the kicking of people and things like that, I want to try to avoid that as much as I can. And I've been seeing the post from the mods, and then I got a notification that I've got a donation, and I'm trying to find out who donated it. And I just want to give the shout out to Ben. I appreciate that 15, and Robert. Very, very much appreciate the 10. Again, I'm new to this, so I don't expect anything. And as I see them, as I remember them, I will try to give you a shout out because you deserve that. I appreciate that so much. So we'll get into what I kind of wanted to cover other than the sophistry. So if you haven't checked out this debate, again, the Whatever Podcast, Andrew on the Whatever Podcast, great, great time every time he was on there, really. But this is, I would say, I don't know, maybe the main event of the night. Of course, is always the Save Act, the Save America Act, because I am America first, America only. I don't know if I'd say that per se, but America first for sure. This drives something home for me. So we'll go ahead and jump into this and I'll talk about it.
Evicted, homeless, and living on the streets. Tonight, KARE 11 investigates the impact of Minnesota's fraud crisis on the innocent victims, betrayed by the very system that was supposed to give them care. Here's AJ Legault with the latest in his continuing investigation, Housing Hustle.
Minnesota.
Winter in our city is unforgiving.
And I don't know where my boots are.
Such positive upbeat, like she's just kind of, I don't know where my boots are.
Snow-packed streets and cold that punishes.
My eyes.
You wouldn't know it though.
Yeah.
To me, Janelle Hansen. She goes by the nickname Sky. And
poor girl. This is ridiculous. Elmo. They're turning the frogs gay. Yeah, that's the thing, is there are some weird stuff going on. All right, let's see. Thank you guys for posting that. Appreciate the support. Trey, I really appreciate you, buddy. I'll do what I can to help you as well. Again, if you haven't seen Trey and the fact that he has his own channel, please check that out. All right, we'll get back to this before I'm running out of time.
is through no fault of her own, homeless.
I suppose I'm coming up on 6 months.
It's now actually been 8 months. Sky allowed Carol Levin to document her journey.
It's really annoying to live in your car. It is so annoying.
You can hear the almost smile in her voice. Like, she's just all upbeat. She's just, I'm live. I'm good. This is egregious. I might joke. I might laugh. I might, because it's to keep from freaking crying about this kind of stuff. This is wild. This is not okay. And this is Minnesota. So Minnesota fraud has basically caused this to happen.
Depending on the weather,
I was so cold and so tired.
we found her staying in tents.
And I was cold. I was cold while I was sleeping.
It's not always easy to find a place inside to lay her head. If she can find it.
Our most vulnerable, the disabled, the people that can't provide for themselves are the ones who are getting the shaft. The ones that are getting the crap because someone decided that they were better than everybody else.
An open bed, she stays in shelters. When she has the money,
Hey, can I do late checkout? I almost got my stuff out.
cheap hotels.
I think I just got kicked out of the hotels for being too autistic.
Sky's autism and the
I don't know if that's an actual thing or not, but that should be pretty much illegal. If they're autistic, you shouldn't. I mean, I get that if they can't pay, that's one thing. But if that was the case, that's
care she was supposed to be getting brought Minnesota's social services fraud crisis straight to her door.
We're here for the eviction.
It's June 2025. Sky lives in a very nice apartment in Minnetonka when sheriff's deputies arrive,
I'm scared.
armed
What?
with an eviction order for Jane or John Doe.
Jane or John Doe. So they don't even have an actual name to be evicting, and it's just whoever's there, you gotta go. And it just gets so much worse as we go through this.
By the latest court order that says we have.
So while we're running around chasing our tail with these sophistry debates, this is what's going on behind the scenes. So we need to stop with the whining and the complaining and the bitching and the moaning and start to actually get to some common ground so that people that actually need the help continue to get said help.
To evict you from the premises.
Sky lived here as part of a Medicaid program called Integrated Community Supports, or ICS.
Yeah, Dave, I appreciate you putting this and bringing this to my attention. I did some digging onto it, and yeah, this is kind of holding the temper back, guys. I'm holding it back.
It's designed to help adults with disabilities live independently in their own apartment with one-to-one daily assistance.
This married Lisa shows that I have the right to live here.
Well, yeah, Klondike, you're not wrong, Elmo. She might be yelling or freaking out at other people at the hotel. We have no idea, and that's fair. But there has to be something that we can be doing for these people. Where I see where you're coming from. Something has to give, because she shouldn't have been kicked out of the apartment that was there for her. And then we'll get into that maybe here in a bit, because they explain that.
Sky subleased the apartment from her caregivers, a company called American Home Healthcare LLC, which in turn held the master lease with the apartment complex. Sky said she'd paid her rent to American Home, so didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah, so she's paying. She's doing her due diligence. So again, like Elmo, I don't disagree with you. Going to a hotel may not be the best idea for this poor young woman, but this is not okay. She's paid. She's been doing what she's supposed to be doing. So who is to blame for this, right?
Or John Doe. That's what's confusing.
Sky ordered to pack up what she could carry
Grab what you've just packed because we need to exit the apartment now.
and get out.
We need to go. Come on.
Okay.
We need to go.
Let's go. Sorry.
Go.
Okay, sorry.
Out to the hallway.
And like that, a vulnerable young woman put on the street.
Buy house. Buy house. What's about
How could this have happened? Our investigation finds it's tied to the allegations of Medicaid fraud now rocking our state.
Hold on, my left side doesn't work very well.
Kane Pence was one of Sky's neighbors in the same ICS program. He first contacted Carol Levin in May 2025 after seeing our Recovery Inc. investigations expose fraud in Medicaid programs for those battling addiction and homelessness.
I call the whole thing Handicap Inc.
He said people with disabilities were being similarly exploited.
It's a complete and total scam.
Kane said American Home Healthcare was being paid a lot for doing very little.
$276 a day. That's every single day.
Every day. Kane's records show his Medicaid was charged, claiming he was getting service for nearly 8 hours.
You talk about an utter and complete fraud. I couldn't get people to carry out the trash.
Records show American Home billed on September 14th, 2024.
So again, the customers are paying what they're told to pay. They give their money to this program, and then this program is apparently pocketing it or something like that, and then turning around and saying that they're giving them these services. And the young woman will turn around and tell you that she gets maybe 2 hours and is billed for 12, or the insurance or whatever that she has, right? So like Mr. B, he says, high functioning autistic with a seizure disorder and had to fight for 12 years to get disability. We got people that are on generational welfare and disability, and they don't ever have to do anything in their life. And we've got people that are actually actually having issues, not able to get it. This has all happened because of a scumbag quit paying her rent causation. He was too busy frauding the government. We looked into this. It was all the way around. And that's the thing, is the way I've been seeing it. I don't disagree with you, Elmo, that maybe she was causing a ruckus at the hotel. But if she was paying, how did this, what happened here? Yeah, Elmo, the government needs to actually be doing their job for what we're paying them for. But again, it goes back to the communities. We need the communities to be closer, more connected, less government, and more neighborhoods, more churches that tithe, right? So all of this money doesn't go to some corrupt.
When Kane has photographic evidence.
You can look at the date here. It should be time stamped,
proving he was on a retreat all weekend in Lake Elmo. They billed on August 25th and 26th, when photos prove he was in Iowa, out of state.
That's absolute proof. They billed the full amount. They just billed the full amount every single day. I wasn't even in the damn state. Nobody even checked on me. So they're claiming they're giving me service. If I was dead in Missouri, they wouldn't have even known.
I don't know.
For Sky,
I'm autistic, so I don't really.
It was the same story.
I don't know.
What Sky didn't know was American Home billed Medicaid $421 per day, claiming they always helped her for 12 hours.
Most days was like.
There it is. Per day.
2 hours, maybe. 1 or 2 hours.
Medicaid data shows since 2022, American Home.
And sure, right? We're taking her side, we're taking her word, we're taking their word. But, I mean, that's a lot of money. How did she get kicked out if she's paying? right? So somebody's doing something shady.
Was paid more than $2.2 million in public dollars. The Minnesota Department of Human Services didn't cut off funding until September 2025, the same day Kane went to the Capitol and publicly testified in a House fraud hearing.
$276 a day in my case, and they don't do jack. They do nothing.
The company is owned by this guy, Jama Muhammad. He never responded to Carol Levin's interview requests, so we went looking for him.
This house is apparently the headquarters for American Home Healthcare.
The house has an indoor basketball court and is...
Good Lord. What are we paying for this kind of stuff? I mean, don't get me wrong, like, they need somewhere to work out. They need the activities and things like that. But again, we need to be helping the people that need it so that we have the money for them, not the people that don't need it, so that we can help these people. This is wild to me. Stacy, yeah, I couldn't get disability after I broke my back and had a seizure disorder that caused me to break my back. After fighting for a few years, I could not care for myself and still can't. And see, that's the thing is I have multiple stories like that. I have a friend that I'm hoping to have an interview with at some point in time that has had multiple back surgeries. She does very well by herself on her own, but she struggles. She needed it, and she fought for years and years and years before getting it, like Mr. B, 12 years with a seizure disorder that he finally was able to get it. Dave, he looked into the hotels and even called one, and it was actually because her insurance denied her claim because they were under investigation, both the hotels and her apartment. That is, yeah, so if she can't, if the apartment gets turned or whatever, then she needs some kind of assistance. So they're going to have to be able to pay for a hotel or something like that. She doesn't have any money. That's the whole point of being disabled. Well, not the whole point of it being disabled, but the whole point of disability is they can't work. So they need some kind of money from the government. So if the government isn't paying for this housing, they're going to have to pay for this housing. So when that happened, like Dave said, the insurance or the government has the ability to rescind that opportunity or whatever. So it may be her having an issue with the hotel, but it might be just scum.
Located in a high-end Maple Grove subdivision. We left a message directly on the ring cam.
We have some questions about allegations of fraud and kickbacks.
Under federal and state law, kickbacks in Medicaid programs are illegal. This state bulletin specifically says an example of a potential kickback in ICS programs includes covering or paying a portion of a recipient's rent. Clients say that's exactly what American Home was doing.
So they give you a rebate on the rent.
Kane spelled out the alleged kickback in that legislative fraud hearing.
And within 5 days, they make up for it by charging for all these services that they don't give.
Court records show
that's it right there. So they give you a kickback. They say, oh, we're going to give you this much off of your rent. So it's $2,000 a month. We're going to give it to you for $500 a month. But then they turn around and they charge all of these these services that they don't give. They get charged for 12 hours of this service that they only have an hour, like the young woman was saying. So now they're charging $5,000 that month, and they were only going to be getting $2,000 for the rent. Now they've doubled their income.
American Home got evicted from the apartment complex for not paying rent as they came under investigation, even though tenants were continuing to pay their share directly to American Home.
Okay, let's go. Come on. Here, go push this.
That's how a confused Sky came to be escorted out of her home by sheriff's deputies as Jane Doe.
And made it look like I didn't pay.
On this day, Sky hanging out in the Hennepin County.
This is infuriating, guys. Again, I don't have an issue with disability for those that need it because they need it. I don't know how we expect these people to be able to work a regular job when we go in, we as the people go in and look at them differently, treat them differently, let alone the employers themselves, let alone the government.
Law library.
My brain likes to have a hard time with it, but
She's trying to figure out
we just do our best.
how to get the eviction off her record in hopes she'll eventually find a new place to call home.
They say that your home is in your heart.
Again, the upbeat, the positivity in her, even after all of that, I'm floored with these programs that don't actually help where they say they're going to help. Yeah, so I was going to go into the SAVE Act, but we only have a few more minutes of my time with you. So again, if you haven't heard of the Save America Act, you're kind of living under a rock, I'm afraid, because if we don't need if we don't need an ID to vote, then what are we even in anymore? This idea that it's illegal for the illegals to vote. So why is it happening? Why do we have reports of things happening? As far as if anybody is against the idea that needing an ID to vote, why would you be against that? And it seems like the Democrats are all against the idea to need ID to vote. But the Republicans, we all want the ID to vote. So who would really be having an issue in reality? So yeah, if you haven't made sure that your birth certificate is up to date, your social security card is up to date, whatever the case is that you have to be able to prove that you're a citizen, because it should not be that hard to prove that you're a citizen of the United States if you're a citizen of the United States. Now, given the documents that they say that we're never supposed to lose are documents that are made on freaking toilet paper, and that you're not allowed to laminate, but make sure that you get them up to date. If you don't know where they are, find them. Do whatever we need to do to make sure that we have what we need to have to make sure we can vote when this gets passed, because it needs to get passed. It has to get passed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, when we talk about the restrictions and the government overreach that the left tries to pull, well, then we talk about, back in 2019, right? But that's all I have for today. Like I said, I don't really have much to go into unless I were to actually get into the Save America Act. And I don't necessarily want to get into that with 3 minutes to spare. And I'm sure that Tyler will want to be going live with his stream here in a minute too. So I would like to know what you guys think, right? As always, I really appreciate the engagement, the comments, the things like that as we're going through. But if you would leave a comment after the stream is done, that is going to help my algorithm a great deal as well. If you haven't liked the stream, please like the stream, share, comment, whatever, right? All that good jazz. Again, thank you very much for the donors that I've gotten up till this point. Again, I didn't expect anything. I really don't. I need it, but I don't expect it. Other than that, I greatly appreciate all of you. As always, please take care of yourselves out there. Remember your Second Amendment rights within the United States. Your response time will always be faster than that of the police. Remember to have logic in your understanding of things around you. Outside of the United States, take that into consideration and stop giving up your rights. I care about you, all of you. As for now, as always, again, take care of yourselves, and the potato signing off.
step aside, emotion tied. Truth is a cause that never lies. You can stomp your feet, you can stomp your feet. You can shout at the sky, you can glare at the mirror asking why. But the world keeps spinning its measured spin. No matter what mood you think you're in, equations don't shake and the facts don't break. You can paint your feelings up, truth won't take the bait. Reality's stone, not clay, my friend. It don't shift just cause you try to pretend. Storm clouds of feeling can roll and roll, but the past stands firm like a steel locked door. Logic don't bend for your attitude, it don't bow down to a fragile mood. You can cry, deny, or get loud and dramatic. The universe answers in cold mathematics. You can rage, disengage, or throw your fits, but logic don't leave just cause you quit. It stands there unbothered, forever unfeeling. Truth don't care what emotion you're wielding. Truth don't care what emotion you're wielding. You can argue with fire, you can plead with the rain. The numbers don't pity and facts feel no pain. You can dress up belief, put a shine on hope. Reality still cuts the fantasy rope. Laws of nature don't flinch, they don't take sides. Doesn't matter how tightly you cling to your pride. Gravity don't stop cause it hurts your plans. It's the one thing here that truly understand. Feelings are waves, but truth is a spine. Unmoved, untouched by the passing of time. You can shout at the rules, but the rules still rule. Logic don't care if you call it cruel. Logic don't bend for your attitude, it don't bow down to a fragile mood. You can break down, shake down, call it unfair, but truth just stands with 1,000-yard stare. You can beg, protest, or try to persuade, but facts don't fold and they don't get swayed. It's the one cold star the universe is shielding. Logic don't care what emotion you're wielding. Logic don't care what emotion you're wielding. So breathe it in, my friend. Life makes more sense when you let truth win. Feelings pass, but logic don't.